Anna from Sprint Tax here. Whether you're a J1 employer here in Ocean City in Maryland or anywhere across the US, there's a few key things you need to be aware of before paying and hiring a foreign national. One thing is around residency for tax purposes. It's likely they're going to be a non-resident for tax purposes. As a J1 on a summer work travel, intern, trainee, au pair, whether they might be also on a researcher or a scholar, they're generally given 2 calendar years of non-resident status out of the last 6 calendar years preceding the current year. But if they've been here longer than 2 calendar years, their days start counting towards the substantial presence test. And if over the last 3 years they add up to 183 days, they can be deemed a resident for tax purposes. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Another key consideration is that they're not eligible to claim the standard deduction as a non-resident for tax purposes unless they are an Indian student or trainee or business apprentice. So they're generally taxed at graduated rates on wages from the very first dollar. So that's a key difference to your resident and US citizen employees. Another key thing is around FICA taxes. So if they are a non-resident on a J1 visa, they should not be paying FICA. So you should not be withholding FICA from their pay if they're a non-resident on a J1 visa. Another key thing is around tax forms. So they will likely provide you with a W4 form. If they're a non-resident alien for tax purposes, they should be completing that as a non-resident alien. So outlining that they are an NRA under Section 4C, again signifying that they're a non-resident and not to be taxed like a US citizen or a resident alien. Then when it comes to end of year filing requirements, if they receive taxable wages, you'll likely receive them or provide them with a W2, withholding tax from the very first dollar. If they were tax treaty exempt, you will likely provide them with a 1042S if you have allowed them to claim that tax treaty. Or maybe if they've received other types of income reportable on a 1042S, like taxable scholarships or stipends or prizes or awards, they may receive that. And then ultimately, once we get to tax filing season, if they're a non-resident and they are receiving income, they will need to file a federal tax return at a minimum, and they may have state tax filing requirements depending on the state and depending on their circumstances. So there's some key considerations to be aware of when you are an employer planning to pay and hire J1s in the US.